Hello everyone, it's Christine here and I am back for my Christmassy crafts advent calendar filled with lots of stitchiness as well as some other forms of craft and even a little bit of cooking thrown in for good measure. So I'm trying to share a video each day with a Christmas craft activity for you in the lead up to Christmas. So, and I'm also sharing my beautiful advent calendar from Nana with buttons, her vintage buttons in it, and we are up to day 11. So let me just pull that out and give you a look at it. So I've got a beautiful little anchor, a little nautical theme, just a plastic button but with a lovely inlaid design into it. So that's a bit of fun. Pop that out of the way and then let's get back to what I've got on my workstation here. So I've got this beautiful bauble, continuing the theme from the previous video where I was decorating these ceramic baubles with serviette or napkin. But then I discovered I still had 3 left in another box. I thought I'd decorated them all and that was enough for the table, plus a spare one for the tree as well. But I found another box of 3 of them and I just happened to be clearing up my desk and I had a little jar of offcuts from the bridal wear that I got from Silk and Stitch here in Melbourne, where they have remnants and offcuts from bridal wear that they sell at very reduced prices, absolute bargain prices. And I had some of that little offcuts of it like this, which had beautiful beading on it. And I thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun to cover one of the baubles with that? So I did that last night. All I used was some of my fabric glue, just Kmart brand, and then I first of all just cut around one of the larger motifs around the outside, just leaving a little bit of the tulle, and then just laid it down across the surface, and then where I had gaps I just used another little bit to just start cutting out shapes to fit within the gaps, whether it was this little piece here, this little piece here, but it all comes together and looks like it's a single integrated design. And even before I started filling in all the gaps, it just looked beautiful anyway because it just had so much glistening, gorgeous detail on it. So I'm just, really thrilled with that one. And while I was working on that, let me just put these bits back into their little jar. While I was working on that, I had the idea that perhaps I could use some other applique pieces, particularly pieces that are rather bright, like this red one, and rather glitzy, like this silvery gold. It's sort of halfway between the two, and whether I would be able to stitch those onto here to make it a kind of a wrapped sense. I thought rather than gluing, I want to actually put some stitches in to kind of wrap them a little bit. So this is going to be a bit of an experiment. Maybe we'll start with the red first and see how we go. So I hope you're all having a great day or a great evening. So I'm just using a regular sewing thread. This one is a Zwicky Ursus brand. Not come across that before. Sounds maybe Swiss, German. Not sure. So let's get a needle threaded and then we'll position our applique and work out whether we cut it sort of down into pieces and then join it together, or whether we try and do it all as one piece. Now, which one's the front and which is the back? I think that's the front. It's a bit more glistening. So I'm wondering whether I even, to make my job easy, slip it over at one point at least. And let's just have a look how that would work if we were stretching it around. There's going to be some gaps, although I think we'll be able to fill some of them. Can always bring that up a bit and across. Yeah, I think I can make that work actually. So I'm going to leave that sat over that way. Could do it differently, but I think that will be doable. So now how do I kind of want to approach it? That's going to be the challenge. I might just start, I guess, putting some stitches in place. So I might start by putting a stitch into here just to get the thread held in place. Take the little endy bit off. Filming this for you on Sunday afternoon, but you won't see it till tomorrow. And we took Travis for an outing to Bunnings this morning to get him a few little extra presents for Christmas, one that he could play with today. Because for a while Bunnings had a no dog rule. He used to be able to obviously go in there when he was in his guide dog training, but then I think they'd had an incident with a dog or something, and so they'd taken away the ability for dogs to be in there. But Alex was in there the other day and saw someone with their German Shepherd, so he asked, and yeah, apparently they've changed their rule. They've also brought back their pet toy aisle and pet food aisle. I think that had gone away for a while as well. Or maybe that's when maybe it wasn't anything about an incident. Maybe that wasn't even the reason. Maybe they just took away that aisle. But you'd think with all the people that have pets, it's probably a lucrative thing to sell, pet goodies. And certainly when you take your dog in there and they pick out which toys they want, it's like kids when they go into the toy department and want one of those and one of those. But no, Travis was very, very good. Even the staff said what a good boy he is. I mean, it does help that he was actually trained in supermarkets and other things when he was doing his early guide dog puppy raising. Just trying to make sure I don't catch on it. Just sort of moving my thread around so I can get to the point where I want to then join it onto the next piece. So there'll be a bit of travelling with thread to sort of bury the thread in the piece itself. So I was thinking I can join this piece to this leaf. I'm sure at some point I'll have to start sort of trimming pieces off, etc. But I just want to start to get the structure in place bit by bit. As I say, this isn't something I've ever seen anyone do. I'm just improvising, just playing around with ideas, seeing how they work. So I just need to keep, I guess, holding it in place. And I might join that leaf in as well, or whether I need to do it a bit further down. Oh, I think I can join it there. Let's bring it over. Again, trying to catch. That's the only problem when you've got all these little hangy dangly bits. There's a risk that it just tries to catch onto things. What's happened with the thread there? Just put enough stitches in to know that we've got a secure hold. So that's good. It's actually already feeling like it's sort of, yeah, wrapping around. So where do we go next in the pattern? Yes, we might head down here and join these bits together. So again, I'll just need to travel my sort of needle down along the border. Or my thread actually, thread and needle. But really just trying to pass the thread down so I don't have dangly bits of thread over the white areas. And I was thinking I could also have painted the bauble, but I thought, nope, I'll just leave it white because I think that's quite striking as well, the red and the white together. Now, what am I going to join in here? Maybe that. Or maybe I need to travel a bit further down, I think. Saw Sarah from Roxy's Journal of Stitchery doing her stuffed spheres. So many wonderful Christmas ideas for us to play around with. It's great. Okay, now don't think I'm going to need the bottom section of this because I think I'm going to have enough to, and I can always stitch it back on if I do end up needing it. So take that bit off there. Great thing with these sort of appliques is it's like doilies, they tend to hold pretty well even if you sort of trim them into their constituent parts. Now, I don't think I'm going to need the bottom of this one either. But if I do, I can stitch it back on. Okay, so let's pull that bit tight. Now, I feel like I probably need to stitch the other side before I try and do the bottom, so I might tie this off here with another stitch or two. Like that. Actually, I might just put another tightening stitch in just to be extra sure. Okay, so that's that side done. I think that's pretty good. Now I'm thinking I might need to take that one off because I feel like, unless I stitch this maybe onto that one, so I just feel like I need a bit more tightness across here. Actually, I might wonder, will this stretch around over? Yes, I think it will. So what I might do is take, without my thread getting caught in it, I think I might take that off there, take that off there, take that off down here. I can hear some, oh yeah, there are pigeons on the roof next door. It's like I could hear the cooing. We don't normally get pigeons. It's interesting. Maybe they've gone for a fly, one of those practice flies they get let out for, and maybe they've decided to stop off and check out the roof. So yeah, I think I can join those two bits together there. Hide my tail in this piece here because it's just that little bit thicker than the other. Cut the longer tail off. I'll just do a few little anchoring stitches to get started. Okay, and I'll check how it's round there. And the aim is to get it nice and tight in place. Yeah, I think I can do that over to this piece here. Somewhat like that. Oops. And then I can always add some of those leaf pieces into these sort of middle sections once I've got the structure in place. So now again, I don't think I'm going to end up needing necessarily both of these down the bottom, because that will get too thick. So I think this is the bigger one. So what I might do is take, although was that where I did some stitching before? I think I might have done some of my stitching there, so I might need to leave that one in place. Let's have a look. Unless I leave some of it but take some of it off. Maybe I can do that. I'll take that bit off there. Well, I don't think I actually even need this piece here. So if I do end up cutting one of those little threads that I was stitching before, I might just need to redo, because I think there's a little stitch in here. But that's okay. We'll get that sorted. Because I think I'll be able to actually join these two up and then bring something up into this area. So now where do I need to get around from? Unless I think I'll tie it off over there and then come over to the next bit and put the stitches in. So let's just do a couple of little knotty end stitches there. And then we'll come over to here. I'll need to put a knot in the end of my thread again. Get these pieces out of the way. Don't know if you can hear them cooing away. They're now walking on the lower bit and walking next to the, what must be the next door's house bathroom window. I'm not sure why they're so curious about what's inside, unless there's a bird or something in there and they can hear it. Now, where was I going to join together? So that piece there, and then or was it this piece here? Maybe I'll do that one first. And again, I don't think I'm going to keep this piece in the mix at the moment. We can always add it back in. So I'll pop up through a thicker bit of the applique and just put a few little anchoring initial stitches in place. Oops. And then cross over to where we want to join. Pull them tight. Yeah, I think that's coming together well. So where are we going to go next? I think down to join these ones together. So I'll just travel the thread down, might do another couple of stitches there to hold that, and then I will travel the thread down through here. These ones anchored again. And then travel our way down here. I wonder if the pigeons are going to nest over there. It'd be funny, I'll be able to hear cooing while while I stitch as my room looks out on the next door house. There's a tree and everything in between, but I can still see across. I've just managed to catch my thread on something so that it's not sort of forming a tight loop. See if I can just fix that up somehow, or if I can pull it. Not sure why it's got caught. Maybe I might just need to secrete it, stitch it down. There we go. So we're definitely wrapping it, and it's just going to be a matter of, which one do we use, for example, down here, because I really only need probably one piece of it. So I think I can probably trim this piece here. Just trying to kind of trim where it's got the sections that join together. I think I can take that bit off there, and then this bit can join in. And I might just travel it down. I've still got one little bit of thread that's caught there, but I'll stitch that down in the process. I'm going to pull it nice and tight because this is the bottom, so we do need to get it anchoring well. Even if I need to have it a little bit overlapping down here. Just wanting to put plenty of little stitches in place to hold it securely. There we go. Now, what do we want to do here? I think I'll take this little leggy bit off, perhaps. Don't think I need that. Then I think I can probably just overlap. In fact, I probably don't even need that bit down to here. I can get rid of that bit. Sort of got to pull in all directions and see where it wants to sit. And the only other possibility here, but I think that'll be fine if I just overlap it up like that. So now I need to travel my thread up from here. Again, I might just anchor this slightly better down on this little bit down here too. Put a few holding stitches in just to get that nice and tight. Unthreaded my needle, but that's okay. It's one of those funny old grey days here. Not cold though. We saw people out in puffer jackets and we're like, we've just got short sleeves on and we're fine. It's always funny the different clothing that people will wear in weather. Maybe they were just preparing for the fact that it could get cold. They were out for a walk, so maybe they were super prepared. In Melbourne, we joke that, sort of 4 seasons in one day. I think we're known as the place for wearing layers. Layers and black, I think, is our... used to be certainly in the 2000s. Okay, now that's nicely joined together. So I might treble it down a bit. Just anchor any areas where it just looks still a little bit smidge loose, like round here. I just want to give a bit of tightening up, one way or another. I might even just be able to do that by sort of wrapping it a little bit and stitching it up onto this piece up here. Yep, see, that's going to tighten up that little gap. And then I guess I can think about, do I want to add any leaves into any of the white areas like that? I think that could be quite pretty, so I'm going to take that leaf. Where was I looking there? I think it was. And I can add that leaf. Which way is the front? Hard to tell on occasion. Is that a Travis hair trying to hide, or is it? No, I think it's just part of the design. Pass my needle underneath. And catching the end of it, and we'll put some good anchoring stitches in, given it's a little fragment piece that we're adding in. Soon need to re-thread my needle, and I'll catch it on the sort of the middle section as well. And then pass my thread underneath, and we'll just get it stitched down at this end, and then we'll re-thread and see where we want to add any more little filling stitches. Oops. Needle's already wanting to unthread, but I still want to get those last few stitches in at this end. The day they make an instantly replenishing needle, I will be buying one of those. Maybe a little 3D printer on the end of it that's just printing the cotton in the perfect colour as you go. Wouldn't that be great? Perfect weight. A sewer's best friend. So it's great, just blends in perfectly, that little leaf. And again, just helps to tighten up the design too. So I'll just get it tied off, seeing we keep unthreading. Okay. So we could probably put a leaf across there as well. We do one down here too. Could do one like that, perhaps. Yeah, I think that would look good. The leaf is trying to bend, but we'll anchor it down. Where was I going to put that one now? I've lost my spot. Guess it doesn't really matter where. We can pop one here to start. Yes, that will work. I'll pop up through from the back. Get rid of that little end actually before I hide it entirely. Take this one down. I might tuck that end underneath, piece that's underneath if I can. If it's not so tightly secured to the, it's amazing just with the tension of the bauble, or not the bauble, the tension of the covering. It's tight to the surface. I just want to tuck that little tail under. Just to secrete that under there if I can. And then I'll stitch it in place. Perfect. Let's put a few more little holding stitches up this end, and then we'll pass ourselves down through the leaf. Like this. It's been fun doing all the different decorating of these baubles. Certainly the napkins were nice and easy. Gluing on that other appliqué gorgeous bridal piece, that was pretty easy too. This is a bit of stitching, but I love stitching, so I'm happy to do it. And it's nice to be using one of my very bright appliqué pieces that I haven't yet found a place for in my stitching projects, so good to use them. I think this was a vintage one I got from the Sewing Lair, or it might not be vintage actually, it just has that vintagey look to it. I find it hard to resist the vintage trims and appliques. They're just lovely to have in your stash. I think I'll travel it up here, and then I'll join that over into here. Oh, ouch. Stabbed the thumb. Hopefully, at least if I'm bleeding, it'll be the right colour. No, we don't want to bleed on our work. Oh, it's caught the other leaf in the mix. That's okay. It's sitting up a tiny bit, but I think we'll be able to add another leaf in over there. And even with this one, the end I need to come down now and anchor in place, I think. Let's just tuck the end under again. It's sort of sitting out a little bit. My finger is just got a tiny little bit, I could just see a tiny bit, but we'll be covering that up. I think it had a tiny little pin prick mark. Okay, let's use another leaf on here. Maybe that is too big unless we put it this way. No, might need a smaller one. Maybe I'll use this one. And just embed it embed it in like that. So again, I'll just treble my needle up through the design. It's pretty easy to push through most places. If you get a bit of traction, or if it sort of isn't pushing through that easily, you can just reposition it. General, so I'll put a stitch in to hold this piece underneath. And I'll catch the upper piece of this to hold that. So it's just got a little raw end at that end, so I just want to hold that nicely in place. And then I can travel my needle down. Keep my thumb out of the way. I think that was the problem before. It was haphazard. I always tell Alex off when he's chopping things, and I just look at it and sort of go, oh my goodness, that's so dangerous. It's just holding the knife in the wrong way. I never hold a knife so that it can actually get me. I guess I did the wrong thing with the needle then. So I'll anchor it at this end, and then I might go around and anchor it slightly over this way as well, unless I add another leaf in. I think I'll just do that. I might be able to get these two to kind of pull across a bit, I think. Just going to wrap those threads so it just looks like part of the structure of the design. And then I might need to just stitch this little bit that's just bubbling sort of up a little bit up here. Might need to just stitch that down a smidge, so it sits flat on the design. So like that. And then, yeah, I think that's a bigger gap, so I'll find something nice to put in there, like that, perhaps. That way or that way. Again, hard to tell. I can treble it up from here. Pigeons are still on the roof next door, just doing my pigeon reporting in case you were curious to know. I have never ever seen them there before. Get cockatoos, galahs, wild birds, but not generally pigeons, which is very unusual. Although I did see the cat up on the roof the other day, so maybe it was pigeon hunting. I think it's actually a cat from a few doors down. I don't think it even belongs to that house. Never a dull moment in the craft room. It is nice looking out the window, having sky as well, and can see the hills in the distance. But yeah, they're flattering at what I think is a bathroom window, because it's got one of those sort of upper slidey bits. I guess unless one of them's laid their eggs or something there. And the whole family's moved in to assist with child hatching. Not child, baby. It's gone in beautifully. You wouldn't know that wasn't part of the design. Then do I want to put something there? It's a bit too big. What else have I got in the way of my little shapes? Something like that could be nice. Not sure what it actually was. Well, this is one of the lower parts that I chopped off. Yeah, I think we can put that in there. Perfect. Just going to join this a bit tighter. This might have been where one of my cut threads has taken a bit of tension out of it. I'm pleased this is working. I suppose if it wasn't working, you probably wouldn't be seeing the videos, or I might be telling you, yeah, how you can fix it. But if it's not a doable craft, I won't waste your time with it. Okay, and then we'll take that over to there. So I'll travel my thread around here, I guess. Unless I want to, I think I probably want to put one little stitch up between these two. Hold that tightly in place. That's better. And now I can travel this thread down like this. Okay, so let's get that stitched down. Oops, and I've just pulled my thread, so I'll just need to re-thread and just put some stitches over to hold that so we don't lose all of that good stitching. It's just down there. I'm just keeping an eye on where it is so that I can go back. Do some extra stitches over the top just to hold those stitches in place. Get rid of my tail. Yes, it was that bit there. So the aim is if those other thread that broke, just to stop it from coming apart, so put stitches over where the stitches were, and I'll probably travel back up to the top and just make sure that's going to stay anchored too. So I'll just travel my thread back up here, back up here where I had my other stitching, and put some extra stitches in place. Then I'll pop down here. I think I had some stitches down here as well, so I'll just go over. Right, that's looking pretty good. There's that little gap down the bottom and there's just this gappy area up the top, so I think I might just come and do that. What do I want to use up here? It's probably a bit too big. Might try one of these ones. I think it's actually meant to go the other way, is it? Do I have another one that might fit better? This nice little swirly piece, which could be good, I think. We don't need all of it. We don't need the endy bits. Maybe just that sort of a piece would be good. Unless I do it more like a round. That could be nice too, actually. A bit of a spirally shape. Okay, so that's joined in beautifully there. Again, you just wouldn't know that it wasn't part of the design. So I'll now leap around to here. Anchor this bit on, like this. I suppose I might want to just anchor it over here. I might just continue my way around. And then I'll try and pick it up just from the other side to get it nice and tight. Just adding some extra strengthening stitches in between some of the sections. And then I'll pass my needle through, pop it through that end. And so we're back to this shape that I was just working on, and I'll just tighten it up a bit by just anchoring it a bit more around here. So it just melds perfectly into the design. Yeah, that's great. Just getting it nice and flush against the bulb, or the bauble. Is that what you call them, baubles? I call them baubles. I find it endlessly fascinating that we all have different words around the world for things. But I think they're called a bauble. I think in the UK and US they are. But I'd love to know what you call them if you do use a different word. So yeah, that's great. I think I do need to do one down the bottom. I know we're getting on in time, but hopefully you're stitching away on something and just happily watching this little project unfold. Looking up periodically, as I do when I'm watching stitching videos, mainly listening, looking up every now and then. I find it very relaxing. It's like having a companion in the craft room. I think I'll make some Mexican food for dinner, some enchiladas baked in the oven, given it's a bit cooler today, and then I'll hopefully have leftovers tomorrow. I think I'll just make them vegetarian, so that's always nice. Now this piece here is just sitting up a smidge, so I might even just catch that before I move down. Just going to see if I can tighten it up by just putting some little stitches across it. Maybe a stitch across there. Perfect. That's just tightening up anywhere where it's just sitting off the surface a little bit, just melding your pieces together. and that will have the effect of tightening your piece up. And I'll pop over here and we'll pick out which piece we want to put across the bottom. That one could definitely work, it's a nice size. Just need to trim the unwanted bits off it. Yeah, I think that can definitely work. So let's anchor that bit on. I might just work my way up, almost sort of couching the two pieces together. So I'm just actually just going over the surface of it rather than through the thread. Now up this end I'll need to just meld this sort of cut end into the design. So we'll need to put a few stitches actually in to stop that from fraying. Where you do have a cut end like that, you need to make sure you're going through the actual non-cut bits so that it doesn't sort of cause it to fray further. That's hard to say. So just pop it like that, and don't know if you can hear that banging. Alex is doing some, I won't call it crafting, he's doing some repairs. He's got this little section when they built the house. They just didn't do a very good job on the ceiling, so he's doing some repairs. That stitch was a bit too long, but we'll just creep that underneath, I think. Can. It's better. I think that's pretty good. That one blends in beautifully. I'm happy with that, so let's just get that tied off and then we'll take a final look at it. I won't make you watch me make the other one. It'll be a similar method, albeit just with a single piece of fabric that I'll start by stretching around the sort of, I'll show you the theory behind it, but then I'll go away and do that independently, let you get back to your Christmas preparations or back to your relaxing. Okay. So there we go, that is our appliqué covered bauble, which is, yeah, really, really sweet. And as I mentioned, if you wanted to, you could even, cover it, like paint underneath with gold before you go to cover it. But I like the red and white, almost a bit of a Scandi effect on it. But yeah, not too tricky. A little bit of fiddling. I've got some great little offcuts I can use in other projects, or I could even have some of them coming dimensionally off it. But no, I think it's nice having it as it is, and it feels lovely. It feels really good. So that will be going on the tree with my other one, and then this one, as I mentioned, I'll probably go with a method of stitching down and joining these pieces together around the circumference, and then getting the pieces at the top and the bottom to join together. And if I need any other extra pieces of this, I'll stitch that in. So that will be a job for this evening. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.